Hi everybody. Thought we'd go over a very simple solution to the Rubik's Cube. I know there's tons out there. I've pieced through a lot of them to get an appropriate solution that I can remember. This is a simple layers method, so we'll be solving each layer, top layer, middle layer, and then lastly the bottom layer. We'll take it one step at a time. Going through lots of solutions. Again, this is by no means the fastest solution, but it's one that's has the fewest amount of sequences, but in turn that means that you're probably going to be doing the most amount of moves. So there's little to remember, but you have to apply it over and over and over again until we get a certain pattern set up. But anyways, so the first thing we're going to do is the traditional good old, I'm going to use our white face as our top face always. Okay, so maybe I should talk about some definitions when I'm mentioning terms. So we have our top face, our front face, our left, our right, our back or rear face, and then lastly we have the bottom face. So again, on a 3x3 cube, the middles are fixed obviously. Okay, so this piece can only be red, no matter which way I twist this. This always will always remain as red. So those will define your faces. So we're going to start off with solving the white face as our top face, which then means that our yellow face is going to be our bottom face, the last one that we solve. So here we go. So our first step is going to be to position and orientate. Okay, so again, another definition here. Position means that we get the pieces, okay, in the right spot, but their colors might not be the correct way. Okay, so if we look at this, so let's say if I was to do this, nope, sorry, there is a white piece. Let me just bring this one up and rotate it over to here. Okay, so if we were to look at this corner piece right here, we would see that it is red, blue, and white, okay, and which applies to the white, red, and blue sides. So what I mean is that this piece is positioned correctly, but it has not yet been orientated. Okay, so we have to flip it around some way to get the colors the right way. Okay, so that's positioning in the right spot, and then orientating, which is all the faces are correct in that position. And last thing is we have basically two types of pieces. We have corner pieces, which obviously have three sides, and then we have edge pieces, which only have two sides, okay, or two colors that apply. So step one is going to be to gain what's known as the white cross. Okay, so we're going to get on the white face, we're going to get the four edges positioned and orientated correctly. We can do this all in one step. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we just look. Okay, so there's only a certain number of edge pieces on the cube, so we just start looking around the cube. So I see one right here already that has a white and a green. It works out that this is already orientated correctly, but it's not yet positioned. So to position this, it's simply turning the top until we get it in the right spot. Okay, so now you can all see that this edge piece is now positioned and orientated correctly. So we're going to do that for the remaining three. Okay, so how do we do this if it wasn't so simple? So let's look at this bottom one right here. Okay, so there's only going to be four edge pieces that have a white face. Okay, so here's one of them. So what we're going to do is largely you're going to be moving your edge pieces within the bottom row. Okay, so what I mean by that is if I turn the bottom row right now, you can see that it does nothing to affect the top layer or row. Okay, so being this. So I can move this one freely without disrupting anything or moving pieces that are correct to not being correct. So what we can do is, so again we have our white and blue, so we're going to move it, okay, within the bottom row, okay, until it's on its correct face. So this is the white and blue piece. Okay, so ultimately it has to be on the blue face, but I have to get it up here. Okay, so now you might think, okay, well let's just bring it up from the bottom up to the top. Okay, and we can do that, and now we have positioned this piece correctly. It's in the right position, but it's not orientated. Okay, so what we want to do to orientate a piece, now you can, some people feel comfortable that I've explained this to, bringing the pieces up to the top so the edges are in the correct position. Okay, and then to orientate it, it's simple. Now there's lots of symmetry here. If I'm going to explain it to the left, you can ultimately do the rotations to the right as well. Okay, so just go slow, trying to explain what's actually happening as opposed to just giving a sequence, but some of the things we discuss later on will just be purely sequences. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this piece off of the top layer. Okay, so we're going to get it down into either the middle layer or the bottom layer. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to rotate the front face. Okay, in this case I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise. Okay, one rotation. So now you can see that the piece that I'm after is now in the middle row. Okay, and now what we can do is we can take our top and we can rotate it once clockwise. Okay, so now notice that blue has always been the front face, okay, in all these moves, so blue hasn't changed. And now what I can do is I can take my left face and I can simply rotate it up. Okay, so those moves, two moves there, have handled, or three moves have handled orientating this piece correctly. Okay, so now you can see it's in the correct orientation, but now I have to bring it back into the correct position. So once again, if I rotate this back, so now you can see there it is. Okay, and also because we already had that one piece over here on the green face, okay, that one was already correct. We don't want that to change, and by doing these moves, that will not change. Okay, so if we look at this again, so now looking again for another edge piece that has white on it, and we can see here we have orange and white. Now once again we've lucked out that this piece is orientated correctly in that orange. Okay, orange and orange line up. Now that all we have to do in this case is to rotate it up, and you can see now that that is in the correct spot. So the last piece, okay, let's just look around for the last edge piece, so now that's down here. Okay, so once again, again it should be in the bottom. Okay, if it's not, like say that this edge piece was here, we might have to rotate it down once, okay, then rotate the bottom, okay, and then rotate it back. Now what that would do, let me just show you. So let's just say that this piece was here, okay, but I needed to get it, and it wasn't as simple as rotating this up. I'd have to get it to the bottom. So in order to get it to the bottom, I would just want to rotate it down once. Okay, rotate the bottom once, doesn't matter which way. Okay, so I'll just rotate it this way, and then rotate this back. Okay, now what that does is if there was anything here, it would stay, but what we were able to do is get the piece that was here now, down to the bottom. Okay, so that's how if you have an edge piece that you need here, okay, so say that this edge piece here was already correct, but you need to take this edge piece and get it to the bottom, that's how you would do it. Okay, so rotating it down to the bottom, okay, rotating it once either way just to kind of get it out of the way, and then rotating this face back up. Okay, so let's just finish here, so let's just kind of reset what we just did there, so we'll bring the orange one back. Okay, so it's down in the bottom right now, and we'll double to bring it back up to the top. And now our last one here is white and red, so once again we're going to get it to the white and red face, okay, or I should say the red face, pardon me. So we want this piece to ultimately go up here. Okay, so once again it's not as simple as just rotating it out of the way because it's positioned but not orientated. So here's a prime example. We have three edge pieces that are correct, so we ultimately don't want them to move, or don't want them to change, I should say. So what we have to do is we have to preserve this, so we do this by, the first move is moving the front. Okay, now maybe I'll show you it to the right, okay, just to showing that a lot of the moves are symmetric. So I could rotate the front face clockwise, then I would take the top face, rotate it counterclockwise, then I could take the right face in this case, rotating it clockwise. Okay, so now everything's there, but they're not positioned. So then if I rotate it once back, and I've met my objective where again my three edges are preserved, and the fourth piece is now in. So that is step one in this process, which is the white cross, which we have now completed. Okay, so practice that over and over and over again until you're able to get that white cross without basically thinking. Just looking at the pieces and making the turns successively. And then check me out for my next video. Thanks.